Look, if you're here just looking for a few quick tips to hit your monthly numbers, this probably isn't for you. I'm here to give you the playbook for building a real, sustainable career. We're going to break down the exact strategies that take an agent and turn them into a top-tier advisor. So, let's dive in.
This quote right here, it isn't just a nice thought. It's the entire game. See, anyone can be a vendor. You sell a policy, you're forgotten the moment a cheaper price pops up. But an advisor? An advisor is the person a client calls in a crisis. That shift in how they see you is what separates a job from a career, and it all starts with you.
So, before we even get into the tactics and the how-tos, we have to talk about the foundation. It all comes down to your mindset. Seriously, every single strategy we're going to cover today is built on this one critical shift. If you get this wrong, everything else is just, well, it's just a technique without any real substance.
Just look at the screen. This really lays out the two paths you can take. The vendor, over on the left, they're thinking about today's commission check. The advisor, on the right, they're thinking about the next 20 years, about protecting that client's family. One of them chases a transaction, the other one builds a legacy. The choice really is yours.
Okay, now that you've hopefully committed to that advisor mindset, let's get practical. This first part is all about building that unshakable foundation of trust. And listen, these aren't flashy sales tricks. They're the fundamental principles of human connection that you absolutely cannot afford to skip.
These are what I call the 4 pillars of trust. Prioritizing the relationship means you see them as a person, not a policy number. Positioning yourself as a specialist means you're not a jack of all trades, you're an expert in their world. And communicating with clarity means you ditch the jargon. But the one I really want to zoom in on is number 2, master active listening. Because trust me, it is the master key that unlocks everything else.
Every single time you sit down with a prospect, this is the real question you need to be trying to answer. Because I promise you, what they're truly afraid of is almost never what they say out loud. Let me just walk you through a scenario I see play out, every single day.
Oh yeah, we've all been there, right? You present this fantastic, comprehensive plan, and the very first thing you hear back is, the premium is too high. Now, the junior agent, they hear a budget problem. They immediately jump to offering discounts or, even worse, slashing coverage. But the seasoned advisor, they know this is rarely just about the money.
And there it is. This is the real pain point that you uncover when you actually listen. The objection isn't really about the premium at all. It's about a deep-seated fear that comes from being let down before. They aren't just buying a policy, they're buying a promise that you won't fail them like the last person did.
So, how do you get to that real fear? You use these tools. It's simple, but not easy. You talk less, and you listen more. You ask good, open-ended questions that start with what, how, and why. And then, this is the key, you reflect their concerns back to them. You say something like, "So, if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you're worried that if something actually goes wrong, you won't get the support you need. Is that right?" That one question, that's how you build a bridge of trust, right there.
All right, with that foundation of trust in place, now we can move to the art of conversion. And no, I'm not talking about high-pressure closing tactics. I'm talking about demonstrating so much value that becoming your client is the only logical, sensible next step for them. You have to remember, insurance is intangible. Your clients can't take it for a test drive. So your greatest asset is your reputation, and you demonstrate that through stories. You aren't selling a piece of paper, you're selling outcomes. So share anonymized stories of real families you've helped through tough times. That's what makes the abstract idea of protection feel real and urgent.
This is where most agents just drop the ball. A professional, structured follow-up system like this one shows you're serious and that you value their time. And notice something? This isn't about pestering them to buy. It's about providing value at every single step. A quick thank you note, a relevant article, a simple check-in. This keeps you top of mind and builds your reputation as a proactive advisor, not some desperate salesman.
Listen to me on this one. If you make the conversation about price, you will always lose to price. You have to pivot that conversation to value. When a client truly understands that your policy means a smoother claims process, superior coverage, and a stable company behind it all, the premium suddenly becomes a much smaller part of the equation.
You know, getting the client is one thing, but keeping them for life, that's where you build a truly resilient business. And long-term loyalty isn't an accident. It's the result of deliberate, ongoing strategies that constantly reinforce their decision to put their trust in you.
This is where you really elevate your game. Instead of telling a client what they need, you guide them with questions so they discover the need for themselves. You ask something like, "That's interesting. Have you ever thought about what would happen to your business if your key partners suddenly couldn't work anymore?" See, when they arrive at the conclusion on their own, you're not selling them a solution. You're providing one they've already asked for. It becomes their idea, and you're just the expert helping them make it happen.
Technology is your friend, but let's be clear, it is not a replacement for you. Use tools like a good CRM to automate reminders and track your interactions. That efficiency buys you back your most valuable asset, time. Time to have those consultative conversations, time to build real relationships, and time to be a human being, not just an administrator.
Now, even with your most loyal clients, questions and objections are going to come up. It is absolutely crucial to remember this. An objection is not a no. It's a request for more information. When you hear, "I'm not sure," what they're really saying is, "Help me understand why this is so important." This simple reframe changes your entire response from defensive to helpful. Okay, here's a simple 3-step method that works like a charm. It's called Feel, Felt, Found, and you can use it for almost any objection. The very first step is feel. You start with pure empathy to acknowledge their concern. "I understand why you feel that way." That's it. This immediately shows you're on their side, and it lowers their defenses.
The second step is felt. This is where you normalize their concern. You show them they aren't alone in feeling this way. You know, many of my clients felt the same way initially. This builds a sense of camaraderie and shows you've successfully guided other people through this exact same hesitation. It's incredibly powerful.
And finally, the third step is found. You provide the resolution. You pivot to a positive outcome based on the experiences of others. But what they found was, and then you explain the benefit. So feel, felt, found. It's a beautiful little tool that combines empathy, validation, and social proof all in one smooth sequence. So let's bring all this together, shall we? These aren't just a bunch of disconnected tactics you can pick and choose from. This is a holistic approach. It's a philosophy for building a resilient business, one that can withstand market changes, price wars, and any new competitors that pop up. Think of this as your manifesto. Your job is to educate and empower your clients, to demystify insurance, not complicate it. Use technology to personalize your service, not to make it impersonal. And be transparent in absolutely everything you do. If you follow these core principles, you'll build a business that attracts clients for all the right reasons. I'll leave you with this one last thought. At the end of your career, when you look back, what do you want to be known for? Having the highest sales numbers for one quarter? Or for being the person an entire community trusted to protect their families? The choice, as always, is yours. Now go out there and build that legacy.